cookies in there that are really good. You want a couple cookies?
It's hard to pass on that. Yeah.
They're sugar cookies. They're like that big. You want a couple of them, or?
Yeah, I'm a greedy guy. I like.
Okay.
And cut up.
Hi guys, welcome back to Mystery Files. Today we're covering one of the most chilling cases to come out of the quiet town of Sturgis, Michigan. This is the story of Wade Allen and the tragic end of his girlfriend, Kelly Jean Warner, a case that shocked even the most seasoned investigators. Buckle in, because this one isn't for the faint of heart. It started as an ordinary welfare check. On a seemingly calm day, police arrived at the residence of Wade Allen. Family and friends of Kelly Jean Warner had grown worried. She hadn't answered calls or texts in days, and those close to her knew something was off. But when the officers knocked on Allen's door, things quickly took an unsettling turn. When the officers requested entry to check on Kelly, Wade Allen initially refused. He was oddly defensive, claiming she was fine and that there was nothing to worry about. But the officers persisted. Finally, after a tense standoff, Allen reluctantly opened the door and allowed them inside.
Here we don't care. We could just say, hey, okay, if she's not here, yeah.
Do you mind if it's just one of you then?
One of us is fine.
Do you want to come in?
I'll go and wait. Thank you.
I know you know me enough, right?
Yeah, I just.
Everything seemed normal. The house was quiet, with no immediate signs of struggle or distress. But as the officers were preparing to leave, something caught their eye. In the corner of the room was an icebox, sitting out of place, almost as if it was hiding something. One officer casually asked Allen to open it. His relaxed attitude turned tense, and he quickly refused, saying there was nothing in there. But the officer insisted. After some back and forth, Allen, now visibly shaken, what the officers saw next would forever be seared into their memories. Inside the icebox lay Kelly Jean Warner's mutilated body, her once vibrant life reduced to a horrifying, lifeless scene. The officers immediately called for backup, transforming the quiet home into an active crime scene. Wade Allen was arrested on the spot. As investigators began their work, the story that would unravel was more disturbing than anyone could have anticipated. As detectives combed through the home, the evidence began to tell a tragic story of captivity, abuse, and unimaginable suffering. Interviews with neighbors revealed that Kelly had been increasingly isolated from friends and family. Inside the house, police found restraints, a small closet, and several soundproofing materials Allen had used to control Kelly's every movement and prevent her from calling out for help. When he went to work, he reportedly kept her confined, ensuring she couldn't make contact with anyone outside his control. The true depths of Allen's twisted mind became clear later when some of his cellmates came forward with shocking stories.
He told us that he physically had this girl down on the bed with a white ribbon around her neck, watching the clock for 5 minutes until she was dead, and he brought her back to life. And when he did, the torture that he put her through before he had choked her out with this white ribbon, he gave us detail on this ribbon and this paracord that he used, and it's gross, it's disgusting.
So he held her on the bed and was strangling her with a white ribbon.
He had her head right here in his lap, with a white ribbon around her neck, with a clock in front of him, watching for 5 minutes. He told her, he says, "You're going to die by someone that loves you and not somebody that hates you." I burned her in every way possible to where she would feel pain every time I touched her. And I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "I took a bit, like a screwdriver. He took it through her mouth. He shoved the screwdriver down her throat to gag her so that she'd always have water, so he'd never have to take it out. That's how he kept her hydrated." And
so
then
he put a screwdriver down her throat?
Yeah, with a rag around it, so she'd stay hydrated. you know, with water on it. And every little while she'd look up like this, and he said he'd take a bottle of water and squish it on the rag, and it'd go through the rag to her throat so he wouldn't have to take it out.
Okay.
He said that he bought a torch lighter from Dollar General in Sturgis out to buy, he said, the pediatric center. And he said he burnt her tongue, the tip of her tongue, both of her nipples, and I said, wow. I said, that's gruesome, dude. I said, what did you do after that? He says, I had sex with her. I said, are you serious?
According to their accounts, Alan had spoken freely of his treatment of Kelly, describing how he would tie her up, torture her, and leave her in the closet so she couldn't scream. He seemed to take pride in recounting his methods, showing no remorse or regret. These accounts gave investigators a glimpse into Alan's cold, calculated mindset and the torment Kelly endured. Alan's history showed a pattern of controlling and abusive behavior toward women. Friends described him as possessive and increasingly obsessed with controlling Kelly. He had cut her off from loved ones, monitored her every move, and even installed locks and soundproofing in certain rooms of the house to ensure she stayed completely isolated. This wasn't just a case of jealousy. Alan's behavior reflected something far darker, a need to possess and dominate. When Alan's case went to trial, the evidence against him was overwhelming. Photos, forensic evidence, and testimony from those who knew the couple painted a clear picture of a deeply disturbing relationship. The jury heard how Kelly's final days were spent in fear and suffering. Witnesses described Kelly as a loving, kind woman who had become trapped in Alan's nightmare. The verdict was swift, guilty of murder, with a life sentence without the possibility of parole. The judge made it clear that Alan's actions represented one of the worst forms of betrayal, a person taking the life of someone they claimed to love. For the town of Sturgis, Michigan, this case left scars that have yet to heal. Kelly Jean Warner's life was tragically cut short, and her memory lives on as a stark reminder of the dangers of abusive relationships. Her family has since become vocal advocates, pushing for greater awareness around domestic abuse and the often hidden signs of control and isolation. Kelly's story serves as a heartbreaking example, but also a call to action. If you or someone you know is experiencing abuse, don't hesitate to reach out for help. Domestic abuse can often go unnoticed, hidden behind closed doors. Kelly's life was stolen from her in the most brutal way, but her story can help save others. Thank you for joining us on Mystery Files today. If you found this case compelling, please hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications to stay up to date on our latest cases. Together, by spreading these stories, we can help bring attention to the signs of abuse and maybe even prevent future tragedies. Stay safe, and we'll see you next time.